It was a new millennium, and it was a new way to do jigsaw puzzles. And we're in a new filming space. All this and some stories of some Guinness World Record holders. All that and more today on Janky Puzzles. Welcome back to Janky Puzzles. We did it! We're in our new filming space. Slowly coming together, but I really dig it. It's really cool. So today, if you've been a previous viewer of this channel, which I'm so glad to have you back, you'll know that in our last video, and I'll link it in the description and see if I can figure out how to link it up here on the screen. I did a puzzle that was black and dark. It was based off a 1978 movie from Disney called The Black Hole. And that's exactly what it was. It was a black hole. It was not fun at all. So for this week, I really, really want to do something fun and bright and different. And holy Hannah, did we find a good one. If you're familiar with jigsaw puzzle and adjacent the genre here on YouTube, you may have heard of a name called Karen Puzzles. Karen Puzzles is the largest jigsaw puzzle creator here on YouTube. She does fantastic work. She was one of the folks that inspired me to make this channel. She does an amazing work, and one of her recent videos, she did a puzzle haul. Now, you know, I'm not that big on puzzle hauls, where they'll bring out like 10, 20 puzzles and go through each one. Like, look at all the stuff that I found today. I like to take my time and I like to savor these things, and I like to really appreciate the puzzles that there are, not just looking at a huge big stack of them and just tear through them. But regardless, one of the puzzles that she showed in one of her recent videos was something that looked familiar and something that really piqued my attention. So I knew that I had one similar, and I wanted to learn more about it because it was just so different and so unique. So the puzzle that we're going to talk about today is actually from the year 2000. Now, the year 2000 is probably about the tail end of what I would consider janky puzzles as far as the focus of this channel. I really enjoy puzzles from yesteryear, dating all the way back to the 30s and 40s. The puzzles made back then up until, like I said, around the 2000s are just absolutely beautiful, and they really don't make them like that anymore. And so I had to come up with a hard cutoff of like, okay, anything before now and then, and 2000 to me, it's a pretty good time. Now, if we do come across the puzzle that's just wackadoo nonsense after 2000, maybe we'll take a look at it. But so this was actually the tail end of the scope, and it is absolutely amazing. Now, the artist of this puzzle is a world record holder. So is Karen Puzzles. She holds the record for the largest YouTube following. She has almost 300,000 subscribers for this particular genre of jigsaw puzzles. But the artist today is a Guinness World Record holder for the most reproduced American artist. And I want you to think about that for a second, because I'll bet you won't be able to come up with the name. I'm sure you're thinking off the top of your head, maybe Thomas Kincaid or Andy Warhol or even Georgie O'Keeffe. But she is none of those. She is, the most prolific artist. I mean, famous people own some of her work, and hangs in embassies, several American embassies around the world. And if you can't figure it out yet, that's okay. There is actually not, for as produced as she is and how talented she is, she doesn't really have a big footprint out there except through her work. And her work is phenomenal. So let's take a look at that real quick. So here's the box of this week's puzzle. The artist we're going to talk about today is Jane Wooster Scott. Jane Wooster Scott, she paints it's kind of a folksy Americana style. She paints paintings of times gone by, and her work is absolutely beautiful. Like for this one, the one that we're doing today is called the Quilts of Cape Cod. Quilts are for me personally, I have a very close connection to quilts. My grandmother, who we talked about in another video, I got to meet Roy Rogers with. My grandmother makes quilts. Well, she used to make quilts. And her quilts are absolutely stunning. And I've got a couple of them. And there is nothing better than the craftsmanship and the love and care that goes into a well-made, homemade quilt. If you can get your hands on one, if you have a family member that makes these or a friend, I very much recommend you reaching out to them, paying what they want, because it is a treasure to have. You cannot just go into a big box store and buy a quilt and have it be the same as a homemade quilt. I'm digressing. So, the Jane Wooster Scott Quilts of Cape Cod. Very beautiful. Lots of bright colors. Now, I'm not an art person. Unless you tell me something looks good, I'm not going to know. But her style is very beautiful, and I enjoy it. However, what's interesting to me is that there isn't a lot of... I don't want to use this word because I'm not trying to be derogatory. Depth. And I'm talking three-dimensional depth. There's not a lot of drawing back. There's a sense of that, but there's not a lot of perspective there. But you know what? That's okay, because the picture is absolutely beautiful. And it also reminds me of a different artist. This other artist, again, very prolific. This artist's picture, you can find puzzles of him just about everywhere. Every yard sale you go to, thrift store you go to, or if you go to Walmart or Target, 1000% guarantee some of his work is there. And I have an example of that right here. His name is Charles Wysocki, or Wysocki. I think it's Wysocki. He is a painter as well. And he's paints in the same kind of Americana style too. Lots of straight lines, not a lot of depth perception, still very beautiful, and paints about the same genre of, old-timey Americana. I will tell you, having experienced building both of these puzzles, 1000% better is Miss Jane Wooster Scott over Charles Wysocki. Now again, if you like Charles Wysocki, that's your choice, your decision, and I absolutely respect that. But for me, I kind of like Jane. For one, Jane knows how to paint trees. Charles Wysocki, I'm not a fan of his trees, but this puzzle was a gift from my brother, and I cherish it. So thank you, Lauren. So the puzzle today, the Jane Wooster Scott puzzle. Now you're probably thinking, well, why do that? That seems somewhat contemporary. Well, again, this one came out in the year 2000. It was the dawn of a new millennium in the year 2000. I was born I'm going to set this down for a second, and then we'll take a look at the puzzle. So I was born in 1980. And so when the year 2000 rolled around, I was 20 years old. I was right there in the thick of this hope and optimism for a new millennium. The scariness of the ending of the world was around every corner, but you had hope that things were going to change. We're going to have flying cars. It was going to be amazing. Can't say that really happened, but it was just a wild time to be alive. I was looking it up a little bit. Movies that were popular back then in the year 2000 was The Legend of Badger Vance, which is a golfing movie, or a movie called Road Trip. It's okay, And then music. One of the top songs was Smooth by Santana and Rob Thomas. And another song that's been playing a lot here in the Janky Puzzles house, because my little son is not old enough to see it, but he certainly does enjoy Deadpool. Again, he hasn't seen the movie, but he's watched enough YouTube shorts to hear Bye 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 by NSYNC, and that song plays about a dozen times a day in the Janky Puzzles house. And I would go another millennium never having to hear that song again, and I would be a happy guy. So, the dawn of the new millennium, things were hopeful. We were looking for things. Not unlike in the puzzle industry. We were looking for different hooks, some different gimmicks. This is exactly, you may have noticed when I showed you a second ago, this is a Puzzlestix puzzle by CEACO. Puzzlestix bills itself as a new fun way to do puzzles. The pieces are not your traditional wavy, you know what I'm talking about, puzzle piece. These pieces, I'm going to get a whole bunch of cool pictures taken and post them in here. The pieces are exactly what they say, sticks. Some are as long as 6 inches long. Some of them are shorty little guys. And instead of having to they don't link that way, you kind of have to line them side by side. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. I got a new toy to play with here, and I can't wait to show you. To show off this puzzle. I have to be kind of careful. And I've got it covered, and I'll show you why. The new addition to the Janky Puzzles show, and I love this. Okay, so you ready to take a look? Check this out. Boom! The CEACO Puzzlestix of the Quilts of Cape Cod by Jane Wooster Scott. Absolutely beautiful when you see it all laid out like this. To be very careful. That's why I had the cover on it, lifting it up, because this does not stick together at all. Or this just snaps apart. So, and again, I'm gonna have some more pictures of what these are, but the pieces are little sticks. So, when you solve a puzzle, you kind of have to figure out how pieces go. This kind of puzzle, I don't feel like you're solving it. You're more or less just organizing it, because it feels like the pieces are printed on popsicle sticks and you're lining them up nice. It took a little bit to wrap my head around how this lays out, and then once you wrap your head around it, it flows like, it just is smooth like butter. It's smooth like Santana and Rob Thomas. It goes super fast. It took me about 3 hours to do this, but again, it took me a little time to kind of wrap my head around what I was looking at and how to organize and how to visualize them. But once I did, it went together pretty slick. This is absolutely beautiful. The colors are vibrant. This is one of the puzzles that are more bright and vibrant out of the box assembled than they are on the box. This is gorgeous, and I could see why Jane Wooster Scott was such a prolific artist and why she was so popular. It's a shame she's not celebrated as much as more she is. She's 104 years old. From what I can tell, she's still alive, which is amazing. So CEACO decided to make this, try this new method of puzzles pieces as sticks. Now, I have a suspicion as to why this didn't stick around as far as a new way of doing puzzles all the time. And part of that has to do with its age. This puzzle's only 24 years old. It's not that old. The pieces, they're printed on the same type of cardboard that a normal puzzle is. The pieces have started to curl like this. Some of them are peeling up, and you have to keep pushing them down. They don't sit flat anymore. And that's going to be a problem. And as this gets older and older, they're just going to keep doing that, I'm afraid. That, I think, is one of the reasons why this didn't take. And it is really neat once you see it, and you can kind of see how they did. I mean, it's probably hard to tell in the video, but they put it it's essentially cut into 6 quadrants, and within the quadrant are the different the panels are going in different ways. Very, very cool. The trees and the sky, not the balloons and the steeple, but the sky and the trees were the hardest. She has a way of painting her branches, which natural, they look like real trees, but some of the branches are going horizontally, so it's kind of hard to tell if that is the tree that goes this way or that way. So that was kind of a frustration, but it was a good kind of frustration. It was very invigorating. This is why I like to do puzzles, and this is why I like older puzzles, because you don't see things like this anymore. A lot of newer puzzles are kind of getting, not gimmicky, but trying things out. There's a lot of pieces that have other shapes in them, like you're building a puzzle of tigers and there's little cat pig pieces shaped in there. Or our friend Karen, she has some puzzles from Ravensburger, and there's puzzles that you build, and then that assembled piece goes into the puzzle and you build around that. So they're having a lot of fun with newer puzzles, and I think this was a great idea, but it did not last very long into the new millennium. And that's okay, because this one's not the greatest as far as construction, it is still a whole lot of fun and very, very beautiful. If you were going to hang a puzzle like this on your wall, I wouldn't recommend gluing it because of the folding pieces. I would do either two things. Either one, flip it over on its belly, and you can do that very easy with foam board or a good poster board. But foam board is, if you like to move puzzles and do puzzles, get yourself some foam board. Invaluable if you're doing puzzles. And cover it up and turn the puzzle on its belly. And use contact paper, like shelf lining paper or contact paper it on the back, or better yet, which is my personal favorite for anything that goes on the wall, I kind of like frames. They're not that expensive, and they just kind of make things look nice. So if you're going to hang something like this on the wall, glue's not going to work on this, but just you can get lost looking at it. It's just so pretty. So this was Puzzlestix by CEACO from the year 2000 of the Quilts of Cape Cod by Jane Wooster Scott. A criminally underappreciated artist, one who I will certainly hold an affection for years to come. Thank you so much for checking us out this week. Had a lot of fun with this. I forgot to mention in my last episode, but make sure you like and subscribe this video. Do stuff underneath. Make some comments. Type in gibberish. I will give that a thumbs up because you took the time to do something. YouTube, the algorithm really likes things happening underneath the different videos. And the more things happen underneath, the more YouTube likes that, and we get in front of more people who like puzzles or can just stomach the side of me. And so yeah, make sure you do that. If you are in any jigsaw puzzle fan groups on Facebook, that's another good way to share the love, so to speak, of what we do here. You can just pop the link right there in those groups. I'm in some of them, so if you do come across me, say hi. Find a Puzzlestix puzzle. Do it and enjoy it. And thank you so much for sticking around today. And hope you like the new setup. It's a work in progress, but so far I like it. And all right, remember, do good things and be good people. And hey, coming back again. Let's put a puzzle together.